Thanks for tuning in to Look at My JPEG, the podcast that discusses NFT, DeFi, and NFT financialization. This is your host, Xerox Jose, the founder of nftperp. The reason why I want to do this podcast is because there's just not enough people talking about NFT financializations. In this podcast, you can expect us to invite guests that are builders, founders, even investors that are deep in the NFT financialization space. We'll discuss their story, what they're building, and how you can get involved. So thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the 26th episode of Look at My JPEG Podcast. This week, we had a great conversation with a dear friend of mine, Noah from Baton. With more and more NFT projects launching, Baton aims to be a complete and transparent NFT launchpad for future collections, particularly focusing on liquidity on AMMs, DEXs for NFT marketplaces. They're solving some of the biggest issues in NFT finance space, and NFT space in general. Sustainable liquidity, avoiding rug pulls and scams, and launching mechanisms to help collections and communities to grow and flourish. It was a great conversation throughout. We hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Hey everyone.
GM.
How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for coming on. All right, this is the 26th episode of Look at My JPEG. And I can't believe this is 26th. We've been doing this almost every week for a while now. And I'm glad we're still going at it. There's a lot of things, a lot of different teams to cover in NFT finance. And yeah, today we have one of our good friends coming on as the guest to introduce us to this new protocol that he's been working on. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. No, it's a pretty sick story from me working at nftperp and then starting my own project relatively recently. It's definitely cool, and seeing how the NFT podcast space has sort of grown, especially with Look at My JPEG over the past nearly year, I would say, is definitely something to look at.
Yeah. Has it been a year? I think it's almost a year. Yeah,
almost a year.
Yeah. Okay. So let's before we get into it, give us a little quick intro of yourself. What's your name and how did you get into the space? What have you been up to? And then we can kind of dive into a little bit of the origin story of how Baton got started.
Sure. So, hey everyone, my name's Noah. Obviously, founder of Baton. That only happened relatively recently, though. Before that, I myself got into the crypto space by actually mining Ethereum in my college dorm room, and sort of taking that with me along the journey of sort of getting my first crypto job, and then my second crypto job, which was actually at nftperp as on the BD team, which was pretty sick because I saw sort of firsthand how the NFT finance space itself grew and blew up, and especially blew up with nftperp itself getting pretty astronomical volumes and building an insane product. So yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. And just for those listeners, Noah it's been with us since I believe July or June of last year, so it's nearly been a year, and it's been a pleasant journey working with him, and we're excited for what he's going to build in the NFT finance space. And yeah, let's dive into what Baton is. Tell us sort of the origin story of Baton, what problems you're trying to solve in the NFT finance or NFT space, and then we can kind of dive into the details of the protocol.
100%. So I guess building NFT finance is really about sort of creating a sort of financial primitives for NFTs themselves. And quickly, when looking across sort of projects which are building the NFT finance space, there's stuff like lending and borrowing, obviously perpetuals, all kinds of different stuff. However, the one sort of segment I saw which was lacking was precisely was the launchpad space. Because when you ask yourself, when you say, where do you buy NFTs? There's a good chance you say Blur or OpenSea, Magic Eden. But when you ask yourself, where do you actually mint an NFT? you get varying answers. There's not one specific answer. And I thought, why not change that? Why not build a launchpad which really creates the best possible experience for minting NFTs and really giving just like creating a safe environment, a protected environment, and a sort of just a one-up experience from what's currently on the market.
So a lot to unpack here. When you say a safe environment for people that are minting NFTs, what's not safe at the moment when people are minting NFTs?
Sure. So, as I'm sure of everyone who's listening in has probably taken place in a NFT mint themselves, be that on a NFT marketplace, or precisely on a project's personal website. And in a lot of cases, that can end up in pretty bad fortune, as there's rugs and scams out there, like there is everywhere. And essentially giving your money to someone you've never met or is completely anonymous online is definitely a dangerous task and can definitely work out very well, but can also end extremely badly. So that was sort of one of the factors which really motivated us to build this launchpad, as it was going to protect the minters and the collection founders themselves, and really allowed them to build a collection or build a launching process of the collection where minters knew they'll be able to trust the projects which are launching on top of it.
Yeah, got that. And with regards to different marketplaces, is Baton focusing on specific marketplaces like centralized exchanges or DEXs throughout this launching process?
So the idea of it is to focus on the mint. And what happens after the mint is entirely up to the collection themselves. So they can choose to obviously mint on Baton and then launch on Blur, have their NFTs listed on Blur, on OpenSea, on Magic Eden, or potentially, and what we sort of prioritize or I guess incentivize people to launch onto is NFT AMMs, which is sort of a product which is relatively new and has some unique advantages which don't sort of exist in the traditional markets or the traditional marketplaces for NFTs at the moment. And this allows us to do some pretty unique stuff, which I'll get into in a few minutes.
Got it. So now that we get that out of the way, give us a quick intro of what Baton does, the protocol features, and sort of the explaining like I'm 5.
100%. So Baton is essentially an NFT launchpad, which, as said, aims to give a better experience to minters and collection creators across all the verticals of launching. And the way we do this is by focusing on 3 core sort of issues and sort of verticals we concentrate most of our effort on. So the first is liquidity, the second is transparency, and the third is customizability. So what liquidity means, I'm sure of you how a lot of you have experienced, is that after you mint a collection, sometimes it very quickly pumps in price and then very quickly collapses afterwards. And this damages the people who invest into the products because they obviously feel like they've been rugged or scammed, or they're mistrusted of the product themselves. It damages the collection creators, as happens to, as obviously the price itself is essentially has nearly gone to zero, and this obviously damages their reputation, limiting their possibility to launch another collection in the future. And it also damages, I think, worst of all, the entire sort of NFT ecosystem, as it really limits to, it really just destroys it. And I think that's what's been happening in the past, as a lot of people have had negative experiences due to this. So we sort of, while looking for a solution for this, we had a look at the ERC sort of 20 Launchpad side of things. And what they did was essentially take the raised funds of a mint or of a token mint or a token generation event. They take those raised funds and pair them with a select amount of tokens and put it into a AMM. And this is essentially what we're aiming to do, taking the raised funds and locking them with NFTs into a NFT AMM. And what this does is it guarantees post-launch liquidity for anyone who's invested into the collection. So you're always able to sell no matter what happened to the collection itself. And there's some other advantages, including I wouldn't say it completely stops the possibility of rugs and scams, but it greatly decreases it, because obviously as an investor or as a minter, the majority of the funds raised are located in the NFT. Are located in the NFT AMM and can't just suddenly disappear when you mint the collection.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So with the AMMs, you guys would be working or prioritizing on, which specific AMMs are you guys looking at?
So yeah, I think the NFT AMM space is relatively niche at the moment. I mean, the market leaders are definitely SudoSwap, Caviar, and then Collection XYZ. But from personal experience, and obviously me speaking for reasons for Baton to multiple different AMMs, there's a bunch coming out in the future, all with their unique twists and turns, which are like advantages undoubtedly. So the idea is to prioritize the biggest two, so probably SudoSwap and Caviar for the moment, and then once those two are on board and we've got a couple launches going on them, we will diversify into other NFT collections. Other NFT AMMs, and really and facilitate as many as possible. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to allow collection founders to launch wherever they want to launch. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So for the collectors and for creators, why should they opt for this sort of launching process? For creators, like, do they get back a certain amount of royalties when volume are happening on these underlying protocols? Is there a way for them to opt for these different parameters?
Sure. So essentially, the launching of collections is really it's essentially like a toolkit which Baton provides to really customize the experience of the launch however you want to form it. So you're obviously able to choose how many NFTs are locked into the AMM, and how long they should be vested for. Now, we've been looking into other things, including allowing refunds to take place if the collection doesn't mint out. And the reason for this being is as I'm sure a lot of you know, a reason why people aren't launching NFT collections themselves is because of the worry that they don't mint out. And if they don't mint out, your reputation as a collection founder is completely destroyed. So having this sort of refund possibility really gives collection founders and minters a sort of way to have like a mutually beneficial agreement and make sure that nobody gets hurt in the process if a collection mint doesn't work out as the plan would be. And yes, as you mentioned, the different metrics are definable and will continue to be, and the aim is to really sort of add as many different sort of different possibilities to edit this experience as possible.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. I think it sounds like you guys have really thought this through in terms of the process, both on creator side, mentor side, and from a liquidity standpoint. You mentioned a little early on that you guys will be incentivizing liquidity into these marketplaces. What do you mean by that?
So incentivizing liquidity is essentially not specifically our job. However, we do work with different partners, including the NFT collections themselves, to facilitate helping them bootstrap the liquidity. So another interesting feature we've been working on is yield farming for NFT collections for when they launch on top of AMMs. And the way this would work is that they would take a percentage of their supply, say a 10,000 NFT collection would take 500 NFTs or 1,000 NFTs, and these NFTs would then become fractionalized and would be rewarded to the LPs of the collection in the early weeks of the collection, or however many months the collection founders would like to dedicate this. And this one has never been done before, and two would greatly help it helps increase the liquidity for the collection themselves. And of course, this is more focused on the AMM side of things. We are also for collections which wish to launch on order book exchanges, and that's obviously something we're looking at doing as well, because the aim is to facilitate as many possible launches, as many launches as possible on different platforms. We're also working with NFT market makers to either relate to the collection themselves or create a relationship between ourselves, the market makers, and the collection founders to ensure deep liquidity after the launch itself takes place.
Got it. And speaking of market makers and different protocols you guys are working with, what are the current partners or collaborators are you guys working with?
Sure. So on the NFT market making side, we're very involved with ProTech, super cool guys, and they're definitely at the forefront of innovation for the NFT market making department. And then for the AMM side of things, obviously, Caviar and NFTX, I forgot to mention them earlier as well, but they're obviously one of the largest NFT AMMs, and we'll also be working to integrate them into our platform for collections to essentially choose wherever they want to launch on. And before mentioned as well, these different marketplaces would also facilitate the yield farming element itself as well. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. It sounds like a lot has really been done, especially on the collaborations and partnership side. What is the timeline for you guys? Like, what does the roadmap look like for the next couple of months or towards the end of 2023? What are you excited about?
Sure. So I'm very excited, to be honest. We've been working on multiple different features, including the yield farming for NFT collections and obviously the launching process before mentioned. So the idea is that relatively soon we'll be releasing all our contracts are currently going under audit, and relatively soon we'll be launching the yield farming for collections as like a tester for the market to see what kind of interest there is for that. And then soon after that, we'll be launching the actual Launchpad side of things and get the first couple of collections to launch on top of us. So yeah.
Exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about, I guess, like funding side of things? Have you guys been funded already? And if you can share sort of like the team size and like what are you guys currently operating with?
Sure. So we're very, very excited to announce that we very recently closed our pre-seed funding round. So this gives us enough wiggle room to get out our first couple of features, first couple of collections to launch on us. So obviously undergo some audits. So that's pretty sick. And then on the team size of things, we're currently about, I'd say, 3.5. So myself, the technical co-founder, and then 1.5 guys, like extra, helping out on the community, BD, that sort of things. So yeah.
Yeah, I noticed you guys don't have a Telegram with Discord yet. Do you guys plan on launching that pretty soon?
Yeah, that's coming out soon, especially for our tester, which will be coming out relatively soon. We'll be opening up our Discord to allow users to sort of give feedback and really have a more in-depth chat about the product itself. So yeah.
Exciting. So like moving forward, what are have you guys already like talked different collections to collaborate with launching on Baton?
Yep. So at the moment, we're sort of focusing on two reasons to sort of go after collections, I'd say. So one, on the yield farming side, talking to collections who want to deepen their liquidity and want to partake in something pretty cool, which is, in my opinion, could actually start a whole new narrative for yield farming on collections for like the ETH BAYC LP or the ETH Milady LP, because it's something which just essentially hasn't been done before. And I think if we're lucky, it could turn out something very similar to DeFi Summer, where a lot of protocols start their own yield farming sort of endeavors, and something very similar to this could happen for NFTs, which is my hope at least. And then we're obviously also talking to a lot of collections who are in their sort of pre-launch phase and are looking to work with a launching partner with us. And another thing to mention with that, obviously our product itself is more intended for front-end launches, so you come onto our platform and launch. However, if you are a GameFi project or a project who prefers to have their own minting site, that's completely fine, because we're also developing an SDK which can directly connect to the sort of back end of these projects and give them access to all of our features without having to undergo the same sort of technical side of things as they normally would if they wanted to flesh out these features.
Very interesting. When you say liquidity incentives for, like, let's take Milady as an example. You have Milady and add liquidity to it. So I imagine you have add ETH as a pair. Yep. What would a collection creator incentivize the tokens with? Would these be NFTs?
So yeah, that's the idea. So the collection founder themselves can either incentivize the LP with their own NFTs, and these then obviously become fractionalized. They can also reward the pool with straight any ERC20 token, be that ETH, USDC, DAI, whatever they want, or even a combination of both of them to really incentivize the usage of the pools and the depositors into the pool. So yeah.
That's interesting because if you LP into Caviar or other AMMs as an LP, you also get APR as well from trading fees.
Indeed, so it's pretty cool because you yourself as a depositor will earn rewards from the trading fees in addition to any rewards which the collection founders themselves have dedicated to the pool, or potentially even other actors in the space who want to maybe distribute their NFT collection to people who are staking the Milady ETH LP, and will be a good way to sort of increase the sort of virality effect of allowing people to launch their collection in different places.
Is that limited to NFT AMMs when it comes to liquidity incentives? Like if you want to do it on OpenSea or Blur, how would that be done?
At the moment, our focus is purely NFT AMMs, but the reason for this being is because I myself do believe in the increased fungibility of NFTs themselves, and then being treated a lot more like tokens compared to traditional NFTs which we currently have. And I think the next sort of cycle and the next narrative will be more focused on the fungibility and the deep liquidity of these NFTs themselves. However, I think you bring up a very valid point of creating this sort of liquidity mining, quote unquote, for launches on order book exchanges as well. And we have been looking into it because obviously not all collections want to launch on AMMs themselves. So launching on order book exchanges is obviously currently the quote unquote meta. And we are potentially looking to facilitate this as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's like that's one thing I think like it's always challenging, right? Like having centralized exchanges to be composable is probably one of the more difficult things for NFT finance to scale. Like, and that's why I'm so bullish on protocols like Sudo, Caviar, and NFTX. And there's a bunch of different ones out there that are coming out or recently launched. Like our previous guest on 25th episode of this podcast was collection.xyz. They're doing something similar as well. Yeah, so I think like the LP positions, if you think about DeFi summer of 2020, it really took off because, one of the reasons why it took off is because of the Uniswap V2 LP tokens being able to be staked and to be composable and to have liquidity mining and incentives around it. And that sort of kicked off that DeFi liquidity. And we haven't really seen that yet with NFT finance. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very excited about you guys.
100%. I think, I really think this is what needs to come for people to see the actual potential in NFTs and not just see them as JPEGs, but more so actual sort of, I guess, sort of issue tokens which have essentially their own pictures for individually. And I think this is pretty sick because this can really start a whole sort of paradigm shift. As instead of people holding their favorite shitcoin or any coin, they can actually have a NFT which has its own unique features, which is part of a sort of a very deep, a very large collection, which obviously itself has very deep liquidity, which can be used for trading itself. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shitcoin with pictures essentially could have better liquidity in general.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So for Baton, like, how do people follow you guys? Like, what's going on? Like, how do people get involved? What's sort of coming up for you guys?
100%. So make sure to obviously follow our Twitter. If you yourself or anyone you know has any questions about Baton, make sure to shoot us a DM, ask us some questions. More than happy to answer. And then obviously look out because we'll be launching our Discord and Telegram very soon. So yeah, if you want to get to know the team a little better, ask any questions or have any suggestions, more than happy to accommodate that. And yeah, please give us as much as you can.
Are you guys also releasing your docs pretty soon?
That will come with that could potentially come before our launch itself. And we'll just give people a deeper understanding, make collection founders and retail investors the possibility to facilitate more of a you get a deeper understanding of the project itself. So yeah, those will be coming out relatively soon as well for the yield farming and for the collection launching process itself.
Yeah, super exciting. We're launching an NFT collection ourselves as well, and we're definitely looking at different ways to get traction. So, to be announced in terms of what we'll do with Baton for the listeners, and just I guess like a disclaimer. Personally, I am a supporter of Baton. I'm an angel investor in the round. Relatively small check, but really excited about what Noah's going to do. And yeah, like a lot of what I think is, generally speaking, protocols that are benefiting the overall liquidity landscape in NFT finance will create this positive flywheel with how lenders could interact with the markets in terms of risk management, and how even like perp protocol like ourselves could benefit from a deeper liquidity in general on the spot markets.
100%, and yeah, really push this whole sort of space forwards, and make it the space I want it to be, and the space I will believe it to be in the upcoming months / years.
Yeah. So Noah, I guess like I've asked a bunch of questions. Wondering if there's anything that I missed, perhaps I haven't asked you, and things that you want to cover.
Sure. So I guess I'd just like to highlight the other two sort of factors of Baton, and those are more so the customizability side of things and the transparency side of things. So another sort of core feature for us is for NFT collections who want to launch on top of us is really giving investors as much insight as possible before making this decision. So they can essentially see where the funds have been dedicated towards, how many team members they are, what kind of backgrounds are on the team members, what the plan is for the collection. And these are sort of stuff which are, I think, missing in the normal launching space, because as I'm sure you know, when you mint an NFT collection, there's a good chance, or a very good chance, you don't really know where the funds are going. And there's a very good chance it could just be in going to the founder's new house or new Lamborghini. And that's obviously not what we want to take place. And I think this is what we need to highlight transparency and highlight the importance of it, and really facilitate it to the users and let them take advantage of it if they want to themselves. And I guess this ties into the customizability side of things as well, which we sort of hinted on with the refund mechanisms, the yield farming, and then obviously due to the fact that the liquidity is locked directly after mint, it means there's a reliable oracle source, and this allows for sort of different sort of possibilities to potentially take place. And it's something we've been very much looking into, as obviously at the end of the day, with a reliable oracle source, there are different sort of opportunities you can take.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think, yeah, generally speaking, protecting users with better transparency when it comes to minting is sort of one of the most important process, right? Because people are lazy, and any sort of information to help them do more research and understand a little bit more before they are involved with the project with their hard-earned money is going to be very helpful for everyone involved.
Undoubtedly. I think at the end of the day, if you protect the users come back and are more likely to use your platform in the end day. And the most important thing is giving the users the best possible experience and the safest possible experience as well when using any product in DeFi, due to all the dangers and damages which can take place over time.
Got it. So when users, last question for the users that want to go through Baton through the Launchpad, like how do they get access to upcoming mints? Let's say there is a very highly demand, upcoming mint, and how do you guys sort out who has the eligibility to get involved in the minting process?
Sure. So one of the things which has been tied into the customizability side of things as well is the process to be able to whitelist any addresses you want as a collection founder. So this is one of the things which is tied directly into the launch of any collection themselves, if they want to opt into that. So there's obviously those kind of features, and then due to the nature of our platform, of the SDK itself, it's very interoperable and can tie into the smart contracts of the collection itself if they wish to have extra utility around their collection, or extra metrics. That's very possible. So, and I guess in your example for a NFT collection launching on us, the truth is it really matters it really depends on what the collection themselves are looking after, who they want to whitelist and why they want to whitelist them, and sort of giving them the possibility to do so themselves on our platform in a sort of simple, user-friendly way, and without them having the need to be able to code themselves.
Yeah, got it. That makes a lot of sense. Before we wrap up, any sort of leaving notes for the listeners that want to get involved?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you guys want to come up.
Yeah, I guess we can take like a minute or so. If anyone that are listening has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. But yeah, like how I guess like with the Discord coming soon and Docs coming soon, is there anything that the listeners should be on the lookout for?
Follow our Twitter, make sure to turn your notifications on, and I'm sure you'll see very soon what we've been working on, be that through teasers or our documentation, and or even talking to the team ourselves. So yeah, if you want to reach out, you're more than welcome to.
Great. Well, I think having Baton on in this like earlier stage has been great. We'd love to invite you guys back on once the collection, the product protocol is live and a couple of launches has been done. We'd love to have you guys come back on again.
100%. Very much looking forward to it, and I'm pretty excited for the future of our project, of NFT perps, and the whole NFT ecosystem as a whole.
Thanks, Noah. Appreciate you coming on.
No worries.
Thanks for those that are tuning in.
Thanks always. All right, guys. Speak soon and see you soon.
See you soon. Have a good one. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Look at My JPEG podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your audio podcast from, give us a like, a subscribe if you like the content, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.